I'm Sam from the Adara Academy, and this is a daily update for October 8th, 2019. Taking a look at Bitcoin today, we are right at I think a very interesting moment in Bitcoin's price, because looking back at the total trading for Bitcoin futures on the CME, which is the one place that I know that actual real price discovery happens, I can see that this is the edge of the value area that we're just tipping on the top of. And what I'm interested to see is if we're going to push through the bottom of this value area, or if we're going to bounce back up and start trading above, which will be really the big test of what's happening right now. If we push back down through the value area, we could come all the way back down to most traded price of 3,870, or we could just push through and touch these other high nodes. It's too early to say, but I'm looking forward to it. Let's zoom in a little bit. We're going to take a look at the 1 year chart, which always start big and then work down small. It's always better to take a look at the daily to see what exactly is going on. Let me remove all drawing tools. So looking at the daily, you can see that we've had this big slump and we've had a slowly descending chart right here. I'm going to turn off the volume profile. Again, we're at the 1 year value area high. And if we push through this, we have all this gap to fill out from 7,900 all the way back down to 52, which is a big possibility that we go through. So one thing I want to take a look at is I like to invert charts sometimes. And inverting charts kind of gives you a different look on it. So if you're just looking at charts thinking you're bullish all the time, well, let's take a look at this chart. Would you be bullish on this chart looking at this formation? So looking at it here, we have a squeeze up and then a push down. This should have been pretty obvious in the pattern that it was going up, right? So we had the top, or in this case the bottom. Well, I'm just going to use lower low, or lowest low, higher low, higher low, higher low, even though the tops were staying the same. Now we're making a much higher low up here, even if we come back to this 9,000 area. But the space is open for us to make a bigger downside move, at least in my opinion. So until we have a move back up around 8,800, we break this top candle right here around 8,800 and start moving back up, I would still say that we're in a downtrend, and it's the short every rally until we break to the upside. Okay, let me flip back to non-inverted, and let's go down to a month chart. So I always like to look at the month chart because it gives you your intraday levels to look at. We can define the value area. Again, define the value area here. So once we've defined the value area here, this kind of gives us the top of the range where we should be shorting, at least on the monthly prices, because we want to be down in this outer value area to be taking the price into if we think the price is going down, which I do. And then from here, I'm going to zoom into a 5-day. And you can see that if you shorted at any time it's gone above $8,200, it's done pretty well. And this kind of lines up with the most traded price for the past 5 days. And anytime we've gone above that most traded price, it's been a quick move to the downside. And I'm going to hold that thesis to be true until it's not. So I'm looking for any move above 8,200, 8,300 to be adding into shorts, at least for me. Longing, there's nowhere looking for bids yet. Because the book hasn't flipped and it doesn't seem positive yet. So that's going to wrap it up for the Bitcoin prices today. It kind of just gives you my general idea. I'll be short biased until something changes and I get long biased again. Let's take a look at some news. This was super interesting on CoinDesk about how ISIS created a currency for world domination. Essentially, they were creating their own dinars, which they were using inside of the country. The dinars pictured here were minted. They also had silver and copper, But nobody actually used them because the price was too low. I mean, maybe the gold price was enough, but the silver and copper nobody used. It was quite weird. Also, there was a Russian oligarch, Vladimir Potanin, who is launching a palladium-backed crypto token on Ethereum. And he kind of came into Vitalik's halo from his father, who worked on a hockey analytics startup with a friend of Vitalik's dad. And so he read about blockchain, he learned what it can do, and now he's creating a coin. And he says, we are trying to digitize all our sales contracts because it looks more efficient, transaction costs are lower, and adds flexibility to our clients. If you don't need a certain amount of material, you can split a token in parts and sell it to other clients. And for us, nothing changes. We ship Palladium and clients get as much as they need. Interesting. Also, Bitwise ETF, they have a deadline by Monday of next week. They are saying that because there is better custodians, they're regulated, they're insured, that there's a higher probability that they could be approved. And this would happen no later than October 13th, which is Monday of next week. So they're going to hear clearly between now and Monday what they think, and depending on what they hear, we'll go forward from there. But it's going to be a very exciting week. Yes, it should be. And lastly, the biggest news of the day, which was class action lawsuit brought against Tether and Bitfinex by the people who sued Craig Wright. The claims is that they printed billions of tethers that were used to pump the market and engage in a fraud of the people who were using it, because one, they weren't backed, and they lied about, well, one, they lied about the backing. Two, there was some research done that showed that Tether was used for manipulative purposes, and this will go from the same lawyers who successfully sued Craig Wright. So it's out there. I'll leave a link for all of this in the description below. I'm Sam from the Adara Academy, and I'll be back tomorrow with more. Sorry about the break. We had some technical difficulties in just getting everything set up, and we had these god-awful drillers over our head for a couple of days. But we'll be back tomorrow with another daily update. I'll see you tomorrow.